Yeah, I took notes too. I took some notes for these boys.
Nephews, have you ever stayed in a bad situation because
Mm.
you were still waiting for one more piece of proof? What I'm talking about is one more conversation, one more screenshot, one confession that finally explains everything. But here's some real game for you. Sometimes knowing exactly what happened changes absolutely nothing about what you should do next.
Yeah.
All right, the details, it might satisfy your curiosity. It might even confirm the suspicions that you had. Everybody wants to prove that they're right. I understand that. But if the answer wouldn't change your decision, why are you still trying to build a case? Some men aren't searching for the truth. They're searching for a version of the truth that doesn't require them to act. Okay, because once you know enough, you become responsible for what happens next. And tonight, we're going to talk about the difference between evidence and assumptions, between a boundary and accusation, and between proving somebody wrong and deciding what belongs in your life. That's the mission here on Ask Your Favorite Uncles. We take real problems and we turn them into lessons for you. We help men develop judgment to make decisions that you guys are still going to respect 5 years from now. So lock in, nephews. Our phone lines are open. And if it's been weighing on you, call in and put it on this panel. All right. Challenge us, respectfully challenge each other, bring your experiences into the chat, because iron doesn't sharpen iron through agreement. It sharpens through honest pressure. Welcome to Ask Your Favorite Uncles. My name is William. I'm your certified uncle tonight. Johnny, go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody watching.
So I'm Johnny Dumbbell. I'm your personal trainer and no bullshit life coach out here in beautiful Pittsburgh, PA. Look, we're not here to show you how to get the girl. That's not something we're experts at, okay? Even the great ones close at like 12%, right? The show is centered around choices that you make based on standards that many of you have been gaslighted into believing are out of your box. I want you to have standards with the quality of life with regard to how you work, how you eat, how you exercise, how you live, how you dress. And as we're going to demonstrate tonight, vetting potential partners to find out who meets your program and who meets the standards that belong to that program. It's okay to be alone while you do so. There are worse things than being alone. Now, some of the advice we're going to give you, as a matter of fact, a lot of the advice we're going to give you has a lot to do with some of the stupid things I've done in my life. And the great thing about making stupid mistakes is the lessons are a lot more likely to stick with you in the future. Now, the nice thing about that is I can recycle those stories for possibly more than they're worth if you just listen to the morals of the stories. Now, we're not proud of those stories, but we are proud of the men that we became as a result of the outcomes of those stories. In short, we screwed up, so you don't have to. I suggest you listen up.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Teacher Bill, please introduce yourself tonight to everybody watching.
Hello, everyone. I'm Teacher Bill, your positivity preacher, your good times guru. I'm going to give you answers absolutely straight from the heart. Honesty hurts sometimes. Sometimes the truth hurts, and you may not like what you hear, but you're going to get the blunt truth, and it is what it is. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to try and give it to you. Now, I want you to sit down so I can deliver this softly. No, I'm going to tell you straight out how it is with the honest truth, and there's nothing behind it. I just want you to have the best advice possible so you have the best options to think about and to move on from there. Just honored to be a part of this panel. Really proud of all of you guys for writing in questions and sending in questions. Would love to see some more people calling, but just proud of all of you guys for reaching out and not just letting it build up and build up and build up. Actually reaching out to see some other people that have been through similar situations and what their opinions are. And that's what we're going to give you. We're going to give us your honest opinion on it and how we honestly feel from the heart. Take it or leave it, however you want it. Take it with a grain of salt, but we're never going to lie to you or try to sugarcoat it. So just be prepared. It may not be what you want to hear, but it's always going to be the truth.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen, let's get to work tonight. Johnny, how about you read our first question?
All right, so we got question one from Kendo. And Kendo says, did I just find out my girlfriend suddenly became too busy for me?
I'm
So for
sorry. I don't
the
mean to
past few
interrupt.
months, my girlfriend had been
Johnny,
acting different.
Johnny, sir, I don't mean to interrupt, but we got a comment here I'd like to talk a little bit about and address in real time. And then we'll get to the question, if that's all right with both of you gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Major Blaze, and I really appreciate his support. He's always tapping in with us. So I
Yeah,
want to
dude.
address
Good to see
this
you with
in
us,
real
brother.
time. It's important to me that when the chat joins us, we get them involved. So he says,
Hey, we like to help immediately if we can.
He says it's back to square one for me. The singles event woman, I spoke twice by the phone. She knew I was off for Saturday, Tuesday, and she claimed she was on a trip for those 4 days. And then he wrote in again and says, messaged her last Wednesday, and she came back saying we weren't the right match. I never replied, deleted the text, deleted the number. Congratulations, sir, for deciding not to waste more time.
Good job.
Now, Johnny, before we move on, give him some game on why that was probably one of the best answers she could have gave him.
As a matter of fact, other than yes, it was the second best answer you could get. Because here's the thing. What I love about this situation is she didn't give the, I'm busy this week. Text me sometime next week. Now, the young men who are not listening to us and not, tuning in every Monday and Thursday night at 9:35 p.m. Eastern, they're not seeing what the pattern behavior is in this. So that would have been the worst answer she could have given you. Hey, let's get a hold of each other some other time. No, she gave you the second best answer you get, and no. Now, we all know that no means no, but we also know that no means go, as in, hey, go on, man, just like you did. You deleted the text thread, you deleted the phone number. That way, you won't even be tempted to even think about texting her again. And not that you would, but I mean, in this situation, it just won't happen. So that's great. You decided to say, hey, look, let's take the L, move on. And look, L's are good to take. You learn a little bit more about what to do next time, even if in this situation, it doesn't sound like you had a lot to learn from. But again, the why doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that she didn't waste your time. And hey, you're still out there. You're still on the market. And ladies, I'm telling you, hit my man Major Lazer up. I'm telling you, this dude knows what he's doing. Major Blaze. I'm taking Major Lazer. God, that's the artist. Major Blaze, guys.
All right, thanks for writing in, Major. All right, Johnny, now let's move on to our first question tonight. Chat, thanks for being patient with us.
No, I mean, and look, we love to be able to answer these things real time. That's great. We'd like to be able to take care of your guys' questions. When you actually take the time to watch us, we want to give you priority when you have these kinds of questions. So please give us a call, leave it in the live chat. Hey, man, I'll take a time out and answer your questions.
So we got, job, dude.
Yeah, man. So we got Kendo. He says, did I just finish? He said, did I just find out why my girlfriend suddenly became too busy for me? For the past few months, my girlfriend had been acting different. Earlier, we used to talk, early in the relationship, we used to talk for hours. She'd send random updates, call me during breaks, and somehow always had time for me. Then suddenly, everything changed. Replies became dry. Calls turned into, I'm tired. Can we talk tomorrow? Plans were canceled at the last minute. Whenever I asked if something was wrong, she would say, you're overthinking. I'm just busy. I'll tell you why that got a boo in a minute. I tried to believe her because I didn't want to become that insecure, controlling boyfriend who questions everything. So yeah, I mean, then don't question anything, right? But one evening, one of my friends accidentally sent me a screenshot. You know how those accidental screenshots get taken, saved, and sent via text totally by accident, right? It was a group chat that I wasn't in. She was there, and so was a guy that I had never heard of. What bothered me wasn't that they were talking, it was the message that she sent. She said, I feel like I can be myself around you. Things with my boyfriend Kendo have been complicated for a while. The strange part, things between us weren't complicated, at least not until she started pulling away. And Kendo, I'm going to break down how backward that statement is in just a moment. I confronted her calmly. She immediately got angry and said that I invaded her privacy and that the screenshot was taken out of context and that I was being paranoid. Then she said something I still can't stop thinking about. She said, maybe I stopped trying because you stopped giving me a reason to. Uncle Bill, you're going to take a section on that one in just a moment. I asked her what I had done. And she couldn't give me a clear answer. The next day, she changed her profile picture. It was a photo that I had taken of her during our first trip together. A week later, she posted a picture online with the same guy, and her caption was, "Funny how the right person appears when you stop forcing the wrong connection." I haven't contacted her since. Am I right in my assumption? Gentlemen, I'm going to remove my hat and we're just going to have a real quick moment of silence for Kendo's relationship here. Okay, that's enough. So, Uncle Bill, the thing that really sticks out in my mind is he says he tried to believe her. He desperately wanted to believe her, but she's saying you're overthinking. Now, you and I know that to be a pretty common deflection when somebody's kind of, got their back against the wall, but I don't know that it needed to get that far. I mean, the change was definitely sudden, as he says, but I would say it was sudden to him, not to her.
That's it right there. Uncle Bill?
Chat, let me ask you something. Have you ever kept investing in a relationship even after you had enough information to leave it? And look, if you did, what were you hoping that final piece of evidence was going to give you? Like closure, permission? Let me know in the comments, will you?
Yeah, I mean, the problem here is I think that we missed a lot of flags, Teacher Bill. I think throughout the story that we're being told here is, and this is obviously going to be kind of watered down just because, look, this is how we kind of recount things like this. But it sounds like she told another guy that she told another guy that while she has a boyfriend, it's complicated. I mean, so does it sound like she's kind of showing him a certain vulnerability that she's been slowly pulling away from Kendo here?
I think she is in a way. She's also trying to show her that say I'm attracted to you without saying I'm attracted to you. But Kendo, you got to understand, bro. She's likely checked out emotionally well before the breakup. That's what you got to focus on. She was already emotionally distant from you and pulled away from you that way before you guys ever broke up. That's why she was getting close with this other dude. Just accept that clarity, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You should protect your dignity and just move forward from there.
Yeah.
You already know the
Kendo,
answer, bro.
I got bad news for you, brother. Things weren't complicated until she started pulling away. Come on, man. She started pulling away due to feelings that you don't even know she had. She started pulling away due to thoughts that she wouldn't even admit to herself, let alone you. Okay, thoughts she hasn't shared. All of that. Okay, so this was sudden for you. This is something, these kinds of things don't happen after a 2-minute conversation, even a 2-hour conversation. These kinds of things happen when there is a dissatisfaction or at least a lack of something or a desire for something different. And that starts as a seed. It festers, it grows. You don't see that. And she hopes you don't see that. But the fact of the matter is, she tried to give you clues. There were flags left and right. There were more flags than a North Korean military parade. And you didn't see them because you didn't want to see them. Uncle Bill, she got angry instead of offering an explanation. Now, see, here's the funny thing. Now,
let's focus on something that can actually help him here, Johnny. Are you right in your assumption, Kendo? Well, maybe. It certainly looks like she became emotionally invested in another man while withdrawing from you. But
exactly.
I cannot tell you exactly when that started. I can't prove whether this woman cheated. I can't prove whether this man is what caused that distance or whether she had already checked out and just used him as her exit. All right. None of those answers change your next move. She stopped investing, nephew. She repeatedly canceled plans. She described your relationship as complicated to another man.
Yeah, I mean that's
all right. And when you asked what changed, she gave you blame instead of clarity. And then she publicly described somebody else as the right person after calling your connection wrong. Nephew, you have enough information, not enough to convict her of cheating, but enough to decide if this relationship no longer belongs in your life or not.
And don't get hung up on the fact whether or not she did or didn't cheat. That don't even matter. You've already got enough information, dude, to just move on. Don't get hung up on it. It is what it is. You didn't waste any more time. Kudos to you. Look at it like that. It could have been years. You'd be like, oh my God, I've been with her for years. Nah, bro, just move on now.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
treating this like a courtroom. He wants the missing evidence. He needs the motive, the timeline. He wants a confession.
he wants
But
her to say it.
relationships don't require proof beyond a reasonable doubt. You're not sentencing her. You're deciding whether you still trust the relationship enough to participate in it. Those are different standards. Okay. And sometimes knowing exactly what happened, well, it changes absolutely nothing about what you should do next. Everybody wants to be a man until it's time to do what a man has to do. All right. A confession, that's not going to restore effort. Figuring out the timeline, that's not going to restore your trust. And proving you were right, it's not going to return those months. Okay. And that's why we talk about your time being your most valuable resource all the time. So I really think you got all the information you need to make the correct decision here.
Now, just make it and stick with it. Yeah.
I want to address, I see Major said something up here. Okay. I just want to address this comment real quick because it kind of lines up.
The focus one.
No, he says about the fake profile, and it was meant to take a cryptic shot at him. And I just want Kendo to understand, don't get distracted by her changing profile pictures.
Yeah. It don't even matter.
As a matter of fact, why focus on your social media when you should be focusing on your own self-improvement and moving forward?
So, I mean, it probably means absolutely nothing. Maybe she just liked the picture. Okay. Maybe it's a breadcrumb. But don't let one confusing signal outweigh months of just consistency that you're building. All right. That's how men talk themselves back into situationships that they've already moved on from.
Yeah. I mean, so, and towards the end, here's the thing is she finally gave you a small hint. She basically told you that she saw no more reason, no more need to go hard for this relationship. In a nutshell, she's telling you she doesn't respect you nor your connection. But you decided to hang in there until you saw a picture of her with a guy that you can't stand seeing her with and a caption that you couldn't stand to see. That finally gave you the clue. This thing is cooked. And I mean, dude, it definitely doesn't mean there's anything wrong with either of you. It does mean that you need to start focusing on the right things, focusing on what you're going to do. What she posts on her social media is not designed to further your life. That's not up to her, man. I'll leave it at that.
All right. And didn't he say something about confront the other man? Did I hear that?
I don't think so. Hold on.
Yeah, you got the information you need, buddy.
No, he confronted her about the message thread or whatever.
All right, because I was going to tell him
the group message that he wasn't part of.
You do not need to confront the other man.
No, he didn't.
Okay. Nephews, I need you to
But if you're thinking about that, guys, it ain't worth the time.
The other man didn't make a commitment to you. Your girlfriend did. And chasing him, well, it turns it into a competition. Now, there is no competition. If somebody has to be defeated before your partner chooses the relationship's already lost. All right. So, look, let's just before we move on, look, he's already done the first thing correctly. All right. Let's give him some game on how to move forward. He stopped contacting her. Let's keep it that way. Don't ask for another explanation. Don't post something aimed at her. And don't wait for her to return so you can finally feel chosen. All right. If you have property, if you have unfinished business, handle it once directly and without reopening the relationship. Everything else it's over. All right. Your job now, it's not to prove what happened. Your job is to accept what happened and move on. All right, nephews, our phone lines are open. Here, let me put our number up. Call us up with your own questions. We don't even care if you troll us. Just be good at it. You know, don't waste our time if you're going to be horrible at trolling us. But if you got something that's pressing on you, put it before the men on this panel. We'll give you an honest answer tonight.
Yeah, we got you, Nippers. All right, so we got question 2. This is Bruce. Bruce says, I looked at my girlfriend's text and I don't know if what I found is worth bringing up. Okay, Bruce, that's already strike one, but let's keep going. I was hanging out with my girlfriend and her friend. She wanted me to hold her phone, so I had it in my back pocket. I had to go to the bathroom, and I forgot that I had her phone. When I got out, I lost them, and my phone was out of battery, so I used her phone to call her friend. We share the same password, and while I was on it, I decided to look at her messages. At least he didn't give us any bullshit about a message popped up and he happened to say something.
Yeah,
I know I shouldn't be looking through her phone, and that's all you need to know. But I got really curious since I've never looked through it. She would look through mine a few times a while ago, but recently doesn't really anymore. Pay attention to that too. I didn't find anything crazy except for 2 things. One, she's texting with a guy that I don't really know about. She told me a year ago that this guy she used to be friends with in high school texted her. I haven't heard anything about him since then. She doesn't talk about him like her other friends, but she hangs out with her other friends and sees them in person, which makes sense why she talks about them and while this guy she only texts. While I searched my name up on messages, she had sent him a message earlier this week that said something like, Bruce is annoying me again. This was the day after she and I had a little argument at night. I didn't see the conversation because I didn't want to read the most recent unread message. Wasn't that he didn't want to invade privacy. He didn't want to get caught invading privacy. I don't think there's anything between them or anything like that, but I do find it a little weird that she's complaining about me to another guy and talking about our arguments. I also can't help but feel weird that she doesn't talk about him at all. The other thing I found, I don't know how to feel about it. I found a message from 7 months into our relationship since we became official the first time. Was there like a ceremony for that? I have to know. We've been dating. He said we've been dating 2 years now. What's that?
Could you repeat that last part?
He said, I found a message from 7 months into our relationship since we became official the first time. He says, we've been dating 2 years now. She told her friend, I really like giving my ex oral fun. And now this was during a time when we were broken up briefly, but we were still talking every day and exclusive. This isn't something you want to hear, and obviously that part makes me feel weird that this was while we were still technically dating. We got back together shortly after this time, so while we didn't have the official title, we were planning on getting back together. Oh, okay, so they were thinking about being together. Cool. I don't know if any of these things is worth bringing up. Maybe just her complaining about me to someone else. I don't believe there's anything going on between her and that guy. The other message is kind of weird, but it was also almost a year and a half ago. I don't know, should I? Oh, boy.
Did he say love or loved? The X part. I really love giving or loved giving?
It said I really like giving him,
Oh, as in like currently.
Sloppy
at
top.
the time, yeah. And I guess that they were dating, but not official at the time, but they were planning on becoming official again.
Right on. If it don't bug you, bro. If it don't bug you.
So here's the thing I want to know. What is it with you young men and going through her text messages, finding what you were afraid of finding, and then trying like hell to be like, oh, no, it's just a misunderstanding. It probably isn't what it looks like. What the hell were you looking for then? If you were just going to try to justify what was in there, why would you bother looking in the first place? Number one. Number two, I think that the minute you feel like you got to look through her messages, you should probably just go ahead and do both of you a favor and break it off. Uncle Bill, he said she used to go through his phone and now she doesn't. Now, while I think that's toxic behavior for her to go through it, do you think maybe that might just be because she doesn't give a shit what's in his phone anymore?
No, I think you can't begin with what she did. Okay.
No.
I mean, yes, he
but I just think it's kind of funny how he conveniently throws that in there.
Look, you have to begin with what you did, not with what she did. All right. And look, so let me ask the chat, because I want to get the chat involved. Can you admit, chat, that you were wrong, even when what you did, it uncovered something somebody else may have done wrong? So, because look, finding something concerning does not automatically make that search honorable. So just
No,
let me know, chat. What would you do? Look,
I, I mean,
well,
I personally feel like the desire and the drive to search, that's obviously the manifestation of an underlying issue, which is almost always, look, dude, you don't trust this chick, and you might have a good reason not to, but then what the hell are you doing here?
all right, he made a call. I can respect that. All right. And then he searched his own name in her phone, and that was a decision.
Mm.
Right. The fact that she previously searched your phone does not make your decision honest.
Well, don't justify it. Don't justify it.
And the fact that you found something uncomfortable, that doesn't make the search right after the fact either. Right. Your concerns may be legitimate, sir, but your method was still wrong. Both
Yeah.
things can be true. So, and I really think some of this comes down to integrity, gentlemen. You can't demand an honest explanation from her while hiding how you obtain the information. Like, if you bring this up, your first sentence needs to sound something like, I went through your phone. Okay. No, I know you didn't give me permission and that was wrong. And then just be honest with her that you found some messages that concern you, but you want to be honest about how you found them. No excuses. No, you looked through my phone first. That's something a woman would do. Or I only did it because something felt off. I don't want to hear that. All right. Your own decision, you got to examine that before you examine hers. And nephew, that's accountability. Teacher Bill, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so with Bruce, he snooped through his girlfriend's text. You know, he found her venting to another guy. He found an old message to her ex during a brief breakup. That was something that happened during a brief breakup. Regardless, though, we know what happened during that breakup for sure. But here's how it works out, though. So snooping was your mistake, Bruce. That was wrong. Venting isn't unusual, and old messages during a breakup aren't necessarily relevant today. But you know she's still texting that other dude that you don't even know who he is. You don't talk about him. There's a reason why she's not talking about him. But regardless, here's what you can do. You can focus on the relationship you have now and not old screenshots. Or you could take the information you have and be like, you know what? It just doesn't feel right in my gut. And I'm going to go with my gut and move on. You know, chalk it up as an L, you know, be happy that you don't waste more time than you have and move on. But it's up to you. Those are just two options that you have. Either you forget the stuff that you saw and don't take it and make it matter now in your relationship now when it's old stuff, or you just take the information you know what's going on, which he's still currently texting that other dude, if I'm correct, and you just go ahead and bounce now, bro. But it's up to you. You know, he could just be a friend that she doesn't talk about because she's not that close to him, and she just texts him once in a while because she can vent to him and always has been able to since childhood or something. You know, don't read too much into it. If that's all she's doing is just venting to him, there's no sexual stuff there. You didn't read any sexual things or anything. But in the same breath, too, though, like I told these guys before, no female has a male friend that's just a male friend in his mind. He's just a friend now because he hasn't got a chance to hit it yet. All right. But as soon as he gets that opportunity, or she needs that shoulder to cry on, and she gives that option or that offer opportunity, he's going to take it. So it's just, I mean, you know, if you're comfortable with that male friend being around, it is what it is. But, you know, when it comes down to it, and I learned that from Steve Harvey, you know, when it comes down to it, though, it's however you want to take it, bud. One or the other way. Either move on with what you know or accept what you know and don't allow it to affect how your relationship is now. Gentlemen?
Bruce, you showed repeated evidence to her of a perceived weakness that may cause her to just lose respect and subsequently attraction for you. You had a moment of weakness that you chose to go through a phone. And if you hadn't done that, you might not have found out that while you were broken up, this girl attended the naughty luncheon with somebody else and then came back. And then you felt like at this point now you can't trust her because, well, you can't just. The fact of the matter is, the minute you felt like you had to go through her text messages, that trust was gone. That relationship was cooked. At best, you could probably hook up with her a couple of weekends from now. But you are ever the optimist and ever the man who wants to hang on to whatever it is you think is left here. Um, she's complaining to another guy about you. Hey, either way, I'm not saying that there's a reason for that involves any kind of attraction between the two of them or not. What I'm saying to you is you are showing signs of not being able to lead effectively in this relationship. You are showing signs that she doesn't need to respect you. You are showing signs of not only does she not need to respect you, but she might be better off leading rather than you. And that is when that affection starts to drop off. That's when the attention starts to go from her to somebody other than you, somebody that she is going to see in a little more respectful light, respectable light rather. Right now, it seems like your stock is dropping in this relationship, and I think that the first person you need to raise it with is yourself. That's going to be sticking to the Johnny Dumbbell challenge that you will find in your inbox if you haven't already seen it, and sticking to it. For the love of God, let's be consistent.
All right,
Hopefully in that endeavor, the mental portion of what I try to teach comes along, and you begin to realize that you're not doing this because you want to look and feel better, or at least not just because of that, but because it's time you did something for yourself. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what Bruce actually found here for a minute, because I want to separate facts from the story that he's building in his mind. Okay, the facts say that she told another man, Bruce is annoying me again. All right, they tell us that she complained about him to a male friend. It doesn't tell us the entire conversation. It does not prove an affair. It doesn't even prove attraction to me. Or I would go as far as to say it doesn't even prove emotional cheating. It gives Bruce a legitimate reason to ask what role this man has in her life and what parts of their relationship has she shared with him. Now, that is the fact. Everything else is still an assumption. Okay, look, because I know some of you guys are going to think that she's cheating and or she's emotionally cheating. And if she complains about her boyfriend to another man, all right, then maybe that conversation has crossed the line, but we haven't seen the conversation. We have seen one sentence of it. The issue is not simply that the friend is male. The issue is the type of access that he has. All right. Does she discuss private details? Does she seek comfort from him after each and every one of their arguments? Does she build closeness with this guy by repeatedly making our nephew the villain? All right. Is this a friendship hidden because she knows it would violate an agreement between the two of them? All right. Those answers matter. But calling it emotional cheating before we know it feels decisive to me. It's still an assumption. All right, Johnny, like you may see a woman privately complaining about her boyfriend to another man as immediate disloyalty, right? So let me just challenge you here on this, Johnny. What exactly would you need to know before calling it emotional cheating? And where's the line between somebody having a trusted friend and somebody transferring a sort of relationship intimacy outside of their relationship? Could you elaborate, sir?
I think all that's obsolete if you know yourself well enough to set those boundaries at the very beginning of any kind of relationship in the first place. If you're vetting these women properly, you're letting them know that you simply don't commit to women who put themselves in those situations. Whether that's a reasonable boundary or not, it's your boundary. You're allowed to have it. But here, you haven't done that. You waited until these issues arose in your relationship. You were like, oh, we'll jump off that bridge when we get to it. And that's what's happening here. Now, you've never really set any boundaries. You've never really let any of those beliefs or preferences be known. And now when something like this comes up, something like this arises, not only do you panic and check her messages, but now you panic and find out what's going on between her and this, whatever happens to be. You've now become respondent to the uncontrollables rather than set your own path, set your own standards, set your own boundaries, and be in control of your own destiny as far as who you're looking for and whether you're setting these girls in the recreational only or commitment box or saying, what do we say, Uncle Bill? Best wishes, blessings on your journey.
I'm blessing
Yeah.
on your journey, Johnny, but I don't immediately take women and put them into one or two categories. I have a vetting process, and I understand that women are very multifaceted. Okay, women are not one way. They're not going to treat all of us men the same way either. They're going to treat us
not at all
accordingly. So I can't take a woman and put her into a category that says serious or recreational. It's a vetting process, and I'm not going to get emotionally invested. I'm really only concerned about the things that she agrees to do with me. And like I said, vetting's a process. It takes time. So I kind of disagree with your reasoning there, but I understand that these guys need to have standards, and that's really what a lot of their problems could be avoided if they had standards, if they had principles, if they knew how to stand on business. Okay.
Or at least stick to them. Yes.
And look, I want to address this too, because our nephew decided to include this to the message to us in the email. So I want to talk about this old message, the part about her ex. All right. Now what he says, like, I don't know exactly. No, I can't remember exactly how she put it, but something about her, liking to,
she likes the eggplant parmesan.
We don't kink shame. Whatever she was into, she wrote something about liking that. And I understand that's painful to read, but pain, it's not proof. In the sentence, it really doesn't tell us when anything happened. All right. It might describe something from their past. It might describe something that happened during the breakup. It might be a crude conversation between two friends. All right. But Bruce has taken one sentence here and attached a timeline to it. And look, now his own timeline is unclear. And he says they were broken up, but still talking, still exclusive, which is crazy to me. And
you remember the exclusive break? Remember that?
Bruh. That's a new one, Johnny.
We had one of those a few months ago, a couple months ago. Remember that? The exclusive break. We're on a break, but we're not doing anything to anybody else.
Yes, we did.
Broken up but exclusive only means something if both people clearly agree to it. All right. But look, what exactly was said? All right. Did both people agree that neither of you would have any kind of sexual contact with anybody? Or did Bruce privately believe they were still exclusive because reconciliation seemed likely? Now that
Bruce's mistakes,
whether there was an agreement that was broken.
Bruce's mistakes began with actually thinking that a break is a thing. Look, you're broken up or you're not. The thing of it is, if you're going to break, take time apart, get back together. I mean, I understand that there are outliers out there, and there might be an exception to this particular concept, but that's why they're called exceptions and not the rule. But if you really need time away from each other, I would say maybe take more time than take even more time you probably think you need, because this is cooked. You hear things like time, you hear things like space. I'm not saying there aren't exceptions to it. I'm saying 99 times out of 100, that means you're cooked. The break is a breakup, and it's usually a soft way of getting away from the relationship. Some people don't like to draw that line right in front of you. Some people are a little bit afraid what the reaction might be. But the fact of the matter is, a break is a breakup 99 times out of 100, kid.
And Bruce, if she becomes angry when you confess that you searched her phone, don't treat her anger as proof that she's guilty. She has a legitimate reason to be angry with you, nephew. You violated her privacy.
Never mind that. You felt the need to look through things because your trust in her wasn't enough. Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong to not trust her. I'm saying the fact is that you don't. So why are you with her? That's the whole thing. You don't commit to women you don't trust. Whether you're right or wrong in not trusting her, you simply don't commit to women you don't trust. We could have kept it that simple, and we might have been reading an email from somebody else.
Okay,
you never would have went through her phone in the first place, bro. You know that. Your gut told you
Yeah.
to do that. So
Okay, and you know what? Let's give them some game about what's in a woman's phone, shall we? Because you know we get these questions about going through women's phones and what in their passcodes, and your favorite uncles tonight are going to give you some real game on what's in a woman's phone. Okay, but before we do that, I need you guys to understand something about this. What's on a woman's phone, it's for her eyes only. A woman's phone, it's not a public record of the relationship. It's not some evidence locker. And dating her does not automatically give you a warrant to search it. Nephews, her phone, it contains conversations. It contains notes. It contains searches, pictures, unfinished thoughts, and private moments that may or may not have absolutely nothing to do with you. So, yeah, some of it's for her eyes only. And that doesn't automatically mean she's hiding something wrong. Privacy and secrecy, they're not the same thing. Privacy says this belongs to me. Secrecy sounds like I'm hiding behavior that violates our agreement. All right, the
And by the
problem
way,
is that go ahead, Johnny.
I would say if you're really, really that worried about what's in her phone, I better not find out you're going in raw on the same girl, if you know what I'm saying. Now, come on. If you can't trust what's in her phone, you really shouldn't trust what's in there. All right.
All right. The problem is that you cannot determine the difference by stealing access. Because once you start searching, everything begins to look suspicious. All right. A joke without context, it's going to come across as disrespect. A frustrated message becomes betrayal. An old conversation becomes a current threat. And one sentence becomes an entire movie that you've made up inside your head. And then there's another layer that men forget. Her phone, it does not, look, her phone, it does not contain only her very most private information. Okay. But like, you got to understand there's stuff that their friends, their sisters, they tell them stuff that maybe their friends have discussed, but there's a lot of private things in their phone, and these people trust her with their secrets, and they did not consent to her sharing this stuff with you. So when you search your phone, you may be violating the privacy of people who never agreed to enter your relationship. Okay. Now, I know, chat, some of you are going to say if she has nothing to hide, she should hand it over. No. All right. In a sense, it does not require surrendering every private part of your life. All right. A password is not a confession, and surveillance, it's not trust. Couples are free to create an open phone agreement. I'm not saying that, but it has to be mutual. All right. And it has to be clearly discussed. And even then, access should not become a routine inspection, because the moment you need to search somebody's phone to feel safe, the phone is no longer the real problem.
Well, and never mind that.
You no longer have trust for the person holding it.
Well, never mind that. You guys want to go through the phone and find text evidence of something you're afraid to find text evidence of. Well, I'm sorry. Did we forget to bottom line her actions and actually just watch the way she treats you? If you do that, you don't need to see the phone. She could not even have a phone. If you're paying attention to how she treats you, like we did in the old days, when her hair wasn't gray. If you learn how to actually pay attention to the way she actually is towards you, you don't need to go through her phone. That should tell you more than anything you ever need to know. What's in the phone is just gravy. Who gives a shit about that? If you're actually bottom lining her actions, bottom lining her attitude, and the way she looks at you and speaks to you, that's going to tell you volumes more than any stupid text message, which, is probably going to be a little bit too vague, and you're going to be emailing us asking what this message means anyway. Pay attention to her actions, man. The hell with the messages.
Okay, nephews, our phone lines are open. Call up with your questions. We got you. Let me see here. I think we got some comments. Major, I appreciate all your participation.
Hell yeah, man.
Shout out to Major Blaze.
Shout out to Forrest.
Pittsburgh Pirates showed up too. Hey, Johnny, your chat is just killing mine every week, man. Your chat shows up hard for you, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, dude, these guys are the best. These guys are awesome. I love them. By the way, Mini Mom, love to see you in the chat. So we got question 3, and question 3 is from Greg. And I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit proud of Greg, and I think you'll see why. But he says, I broke up with my girlfriend over her having a male friend staying the night. You know, years ago, this wouldn't have been a controversial topic. So I'm looking to get some feedback. I've been in this relationship with this girl for the past 10 months. I'm 32. She's 28. Things have been going well, but then I found out she was having a male out-of-town friend that I had never heard of stay the weekend at her small studio apartment. I thought that was super odd since she had never told me about this guy. When I said that it would make me uncomfortable, she said, I don't understand why it would make you uncomfortable. After a few talks, I just stood my ground and said, look, I'm not going to tell you you can or can't do something. I'm just not that guy. But that does make me incredibly uncomfortable that you would have a guy who you had never mentioned to me and I'd never even met over for the weekend in your studio. He said, going forward, would you be okay with not having guys over at your apartment because that would make me uncomfortable? And she wouldn't answer. So he even kind of gave her an opportunity to give him the straight up. And he says, then I remembered something that I heard on your podcast. And admittedly, I stole it verbatim. I said, I wish you the best, but that is my line. If you can't respect that, then I don't think I can make this work and we have to call it quits. The question is, am I being unreasonable to the situation? Is she? I feel like I was honest about how I felt, and I did not accuse her of anything. And I said what my boundaries were, and she did not accept them. I did not accept going forward. Greg, I think you're just checking your work, my friend, because I got to tell you, with maybe one or two small exceptions, I think that's how I would have handled it. Teacher Bill?
Oh, exactly, man. Greg, good job, bro. So this whole girlfriend wanted a male friend and you'd never met to stay the weekend and stuff. And what?
Yeah, this
what?
wasn't going to be a teenage sleepover with scary movies.
No, hey, and then the really stupid, irritating, just ridiculously dumb response back, like acting dumb, like why would you have a problem with it? What do you mean? Why would I have a problem with it? Why wouldn't you have a problem with it? I had a chick stay over. That's stupid. Listen, man, you already know, bro. So kudos to you because you didn't push control on her. You just stated your boundaries, brother. You stated your boundaries and then you stuck to it. You didn't tell her this is what you can or can't do. You decided what you were willing to accept, my man. Can you dig it? So good job.
She hit him with the I don't understand why that makes you uncomfortable. She's trying to make you feel like the insecure one about this inappropriate, as you've deemed it, inappropriate event. She wants you to feel like you're the problem here, you know?
Isn't that like gaslighting? Like she's trying to gaslight her or something, make like it's all back on him. Yeah. And then so sometimes, bro, two people will simply have different relationship boundaries, or man, I gotta watch how I talk on here because I don't ever want to student or something. Or she's promiscuous, and you didn't realize it. There you go. That was a very nice way for me to say that, bro. Because believe me, I wanted to say it different to you.
Absolutely.
Greg, I wanted to say it different to you. Okay, because it would piss me off that bad if I was with somebody that said something like that to me. You know, wanted to have a dude stay over here. What are you talking about? It's not even a question, bro. It's not even a question. You know what I mean? Bounce, brother. Bounce and be happy that you did.
Greg, no, you were not unreasonable. You saw an arrangement that didn't work for you. A man you'd never heard about staying the weekend inside your girlfriend's studio apartment.
Now, for those of you who don't know, studio apartment is where the bedroom's not even separated from the rest of the place.
You asked whether she would agree to not continue that arrangement, and she wouldn't give you an answer.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I say?
He was being too kind letting her answer that question.
So you end your participation in the relationship.
Yeah.
You didn't forbid her from hosting him. You certainly didn't threaten her. You didn't accuse her of sleeping with him. You told her what you could and could not accept, and you acted accordingly. And that's a boundary. And look, Like, Greg, here's what I need you to understand. All right, you're still asking whether you were right because part of you wants a jury to approve the price he paid. Right? But a boundary.
Well, he's being told at every turn he's being controlling. I'm sure,
Well, a boundary, it doesn't become valid just because the internet agrees with it. A boundary becomes real when you're willing to accept the consequence of enforcing it.
That's the real deal right there.
The price of a boundary is that somebody you love may choose the other side of it. Okay, that doesn't automatically make them evil, and it does not automatically make your boundary wrong, nephew. It reveals incompatibility. Now, Johnny, I know you believe that there's no innocent reason for this woman to have an unknown man staying in her studio apartment. And sir, you may be right. Let me ask you this.
She needed someone to kill the midnight spiders.
Can we validate Greg's decision without convicting her of something we can't prove?
Well, yes, and first of all, I got to say that I love that. I love that he learned to handle. I love that he handled the situation, and I love that he's been watching us. By the way, like and subscribe if you haven't already. You guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, please hit that like and subscribe. It really helps our algorithm, and even if you hit thumbs down, still helps us. No, I mean, I think that I really think that he could have maybe left his emotions out of it. He could have just simply said, "Hey, look, if this is what you want to do, you go right ahead." And when she starts throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, the only thing you really need to remind her of is, look, you decided this was more important than me sticking around. I think you should choose what you chose. I have to. Simple as that. And look, you made a choice. You're going to choose what you chose. And I mean, if you would have let this slide, here's the other thing, Greg. If you would have let this slide, what other things do you think she would have been trying to run by you? Now he's going to stay for the weekend. Now she's going to go to Cabo with him. Now they're going to go and take a couple weeks in Puerto Rico together. And you're not invited. I mean, where is the line going to be? If you didn't draw the line and have her having this strange guy you don't know staying the night with her, and you said, "Oh, that's okay, honey, I trust you," that's what your voice would sound like if you were that guy. I mean, where do you think that line's going to be drawn? She knows she can get away with that. What else can she get away with? What else can she get you to pay for? I mean, there really is no limit to where this could have gone if you would have let this slide. But no, you had standards, you had business to stand on, and boy, you stood on that business like a soapbox and told her how it was going to have to be in your life while she went ahead and did whatever she chose with hers. Bravo.
Hey, nephews, I want you guys to take an example from Greg here. I'm glad you wrote in with us, into us. All right, because let's talk about this. He wasn't concerned that this woman had a friend. All right, it wasn't simply that some friend existed. It was that an unknown male stayed overnight in a small studio apartment. And then what he did is he kept the standard connected to the actual behavior. I love that. If your personal standard is no opposite sex friendships, state it before the relationship becomes serious. Okay. And then allow that other person to accept it or reject it. But don't turn your standard into a law. All right, governing every relationship in the world. All right, your standard, it governs access to your life. It does not make you the owner of somebody else's. But I'm just really glad, you know what I'm saying, that he stated his boundary and willing to move on, man. Shout out to him. I wish we got more emails like this.
I mean, and I love the fact that, and it's so important that the first time somebody pushes that boundary and you let them know that boundary is that boundary, or as a certain former football coach here in Pittsburgh would say, the standard is the standard. You let them know that is going to, that's going to elicit some level of respect from them. But remember, this is kind of like pulling a weapon in a fight. Do not pull it unless you not only know how to, but intend to use it if need be. In other words, if you are going to say this is a boundary for me and I will absolutely walk away, nephew, you better walk away if that boundary is crossed. If you do not, guess what? That boundary just moved. That goalpost just moved. And your territory, your turf, your kingdom just became a little bit smaller.
Now,
this is yours to build. This is yours to build, and this is yours to reinforce, and this is yours to enforce based on your standards and principles of what got you here in the first place, day after day. If you don't know what's going to get you there, hey, look, that's half the fun of growing up. But your uncles are here to help you when it comes to guidance as far as at least what to point you not to do. But sometimes we've got some pretty good ideas telling you what to do, even if it's just letting you know that, hey, man, good for you, nephew. You stood on business. And this time, yeah, man, you did.
Now, look, some people, they're going to call what Greg did an ultimatum. Okay. Every boundary has
Believe it or not.
All right. Now that alone does not make it controlling. Okay. Because control sounds like you're not allowed to have him stay here. But a boundary, nephews, I want you to understand, it sounds like you're free to make that choice. But I will not remain in a relationship if you do. The difference is not whether she dislikes the consequence. The difference is, well, who Greg is governing, right? He governed himself, right? He did not take away her choice. And I think that's the important lesson here.
Yeah.
He respected it enough to make his own.
Yeah, I mean, and really what it boiled down to is he said to himself, look, or said to her rather, if this guy spending the night is more important to you than being in a relationship with me, then there's a decision you made. I will make my decision accordingly as well.
That's
okay. So one thing I'd like, I want to talk to Greg here for a second. Greg, all right, there's one thing I need you to examine. All right, your boundaries, we talk about them all the time, and it sounds like you've been listening to us. Shout out to you.
Yes, sir.
Your boundaries, they must be precise. Is this your standard? All right. No unknown men staying overnight. No male friends staying overnight. No private one-on-one visits with male friends, or no man may ever enter your girlfriend's apartment. Okay. Because look, those are really 4 different standards. Right. Do not build a vague rule just to avoid discomfort. All right, define the exact behavior that you're not willing to accept, and then apply that same rule to yourself. All right, would you expect your girlfriend to accept an unknown woman spending the weekend in your studio apartment, nephew? If the answer is no, your standard is reciprocal.
Right, I got a Buffalo nickel says that if he asked her that, she'd be like, well, that's different.
Look, if you want freedoms you would deny her, that's not a standard. That's a privilege. Okay. And look, Greg, like, do not reopen this relationship simply because enforcing the line hurts. All right. Don't contact her looking for confirmation that you were right. Do not monitor whether another man stayed over. All right. Don't wait for evidence that something happened so you can finally feel justified in your decision. That decision was not based on proving that she cheated. It was based on the arrangement she wanted in the relationship you were willing to live in. And look, handle any remaining like property or practical business you might have with her respectfully. We don't need to smear her. We don't need to recruit mutual friends into choosing sides. And look, don't return unless the actual incompatibility issue has changed. Okay, because missing her, it's not a change in circumstances. Okay, loneliness it's not a new agreement. All right, and I'm going to give you a little bit of game here on how to prevent this from happening to you next time. All right, you cannot predict every situation you're going to run into before dating somebody. All right, but you can discuss a few categories that repeatedly destroy relationships. And this is one of them. Okay, the opposite sex friends that you're dealing with, the overnight guest, exes, that's another one. Phone privacy, financial expectations, or even what loyalty looks like when your partner, when they're not present. All right. These conversations, they don't need to sound like a legal contract. All right. But they need to happen before the test actually arrives. And look, when a new situation exposes a standard that you had never even considered before, state it clearly. All right. Give the other person room to decide and then believe the decision they make. You got anything you'd like to add with this, Teacher Bill?
Greg, I think you did a great job again, like I said, with the boundaries. Yeah, there's one thing I definitely want to add. Gentlemen, I want you to realize what you're seeing here with Greg and his question and his statement. What you're seeing here is that this show has been reaching people and that they're hearing the message, and the message is being used in real time in real life situations, and it's actually helping people out. So kudos to you, gentlemen. Kudos to
Yes,
you.
sir.
So right on Greg and right on both of you gentlemen.
All right, before we wrap this up, gentlemen, Major Blaze has another question for us tonight. He wants to put before the panel and the chat. Why did my ex call me after 60 days of no contact and then again after 30 days and then texted me constantly a week ago and then disappeared again?
Well, I mean, there's a few different purposes here. Number one, information gathering. What are you doing? Are you doing better? Are you happy? Are you with somebody else? The other thing is, could possibly be that she wants to make sure you stay as a part of her entourage. You've got to be one of those guys she can fall back on when these new ventures of hers don't work. This is what we call breadcrumbing. And I mean, based on the story that you've given, based on the things you've told us about the situation that you were in with her, really kind of sounds like because you used to kind of be addicted to going back and continuing to talk to her, but she is kind of trying to use those same tactics again. And we got to make sure you're standing on business, man. Don't fall for it again, man. You got this. You're stronger than that.
I think it's been missing you physically too, bro. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You might just be a slayer, and she might have just been missing you physically, but doesn't want to be with you emotionally too. It could come down to that, It's a few things, Major.
Look, if she's hot and cold, the best you're going to get is lukewarm.
Boom.
I'll tell you what, Major. I'm going to give you a little piece of advice here, sir. The why doesn't matter.
No, it's about the actions or the inaction.
Why she reached out. That none of that matters. What matters, sir, is
Thank you, Charlie.
What you're going to do about it. All right, what your standards are, whether you allow that in your life, whether you're going to fall for it, feed into it, ignore it. The why she did it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you're going to do about it, sir.
Yep.
Now, nephews, before we leave you tonight, I want you to remember this. All right, your life, it's not a courtroom. You don't need enough evidence to convict somebody before you're allowed to decide what belongs in your life. All right, that does not give you permission to turn suspicion into facts. All right, one man kept searching for an explanation after behaviors had already answered him. Another went looking through a phone and learned that finding something doesn't always erase how he found it. I mean, these are different situations, but the lesson is the same. Know what is true. Separate it from what you're assuming. Apply your standard and then make the decision that reality requires. Stop building cases you have no intention of finishing, and stop demanding confessions that are not going to change your next move. All right. I want to thank the men on this panel. Shout out to the men on this panel for bringing their experience, for challenging my perspective at times, and giving every nephew that's watching more than one way to examine these situations. And to everybody that participated, that wrote in, contributed to the chat, challenged us, or those quietly just listening at home because tonight's going to hit a little close to them. Thank you. All right. Your honesty, it turns this live stream into a community, and your participation, it helps another man realize he is not carrying his problem alone. Now, nephews, we're going to be back next week. with more questions, with more answers, with more game, and God willing, more leveled up nephews ready to make better decisions. Now,
All right.
until then, trust the facts, keep your standards, go forth and conquer so you can be the greatest man your bloodline has ever seen. Teacher Bill, you got closing thoughts for our nephews tonight?
Gentlemen, all three of these questions today came down to trust, communication, and compatibility. Sometimes the healthiest decisions isn't proving who's right. It's recognizing when your values or relationships no longer line up, and you just need to know when to move on. Great job to all three of you for writing in. We appreciate all of you. Keep bringing those questions in. Start calling in, you guys. Kudos to each of you. Don't sit back and let it build up when you got your uncles here to ask.
Johnny Dumbbell, final words for the nephews for the week.
Yeah, we heard from two men that are really seeking their sense of self and self-respect, and we heard one man who seems to have just found it, and just needs to be a little bit more. Needs to say it a little bit more with his chest, but he's right when he's right with what he's saying, the decisions he's making, because he's making them for his own program. Just as you all are watching tonight. You're here for a little bit of self-help, or at least a little bit of entertainment. We're always good for that. We're glad to have you with us. Please, if you have a chance to, give us like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Really helps us to get our names out there and have a little bit more fun with even more of you guys, and get our reach out there to those who need it. Now, it's going to be a few nights before we see you again. So that does usually mean it's plenty of time to get in trouble. Let's not do that. Let's keep the drugs and alcohol to a minimum. But if you do drink, don't drive. And if you do drive, don't park. Because as we all know, accidents cause people. Good night.
Thank everybody for watching. God bless the real. We'll see you next week. We're out.
See ya. I'm gonna choke.